2020. Black celebrities who got sued for millions. Fame can make you a legend, but it can also make you a target. From billionaires like Jay-Z and Rihanna to icons like Usher and Nicki Minaj, some of the biggest names in black entertainment have faced lawsuits worth millions. Betrayal contracts gone wrong, and shocking allegations turned their careers into courtroom dramas that left fans stunned. Tonight, we uncover 20 stories where success came with a staggering price tag. Which of these cases will surprise you the most? Stay tuned. Drop your comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence. Sean Combs. Sean Combs, often called Puff Daddy P. Diddy, or simply Diddy, has long been a towering figure in American music and culture. Born in Harlem and raised in Mount Vernon, New York, he broke into the industry as an intern at Uptown Records before founding Bad Boy Records in 1993. Under his leadership, Bad Boy shaped the sound of 1990s hip-hop, producing chart-topping hits for artists like the notorious B.I.G. Faith Evans and Mary J. Blige. Beyond music, Diddy expanded into fashion with Sean John Beverages with Ciroc Vodka and television ventures, making him one of hip-hop's first true billionaires in the making. His entrepreneurial empire once placed him consistently on Forbes' lists of richest entertainers. But in 2024, his business empire was overshadowed by a lawsuit that shook the industry. Music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones filed a $30 million towards the Love album Off the Grid. Jones claimed he endured repeated inappropriate encounters while assisting in studio sessions and touring activities tied to the album. The lawsuit not only demanded financial damages, but also spotlighted questions about power control and the treatment of collaborators in the music business. Diddy's legal team fiercely rejected the claims. They argued that the accusations were fabricated, designed to exploit Diddy's wealth and public profile. According to his lawyers, they possessed substantial evidence to prove Jones's statements false, vowing to defend his reputation vigorously. Despite these denials, the case quickly became headline news. It fueled speculation, with some pointing to broader federal investigations into Diddy as reasons to take the allegations seriously, while others saw it as opportunism. The stakes extend far beyond money. For a man who built his name on ambition, reinvention, and the belief that he was untouchable in business, the lawsuit marks a significant blow to his carefully crafted legacy. Business partnerships face scrutiny, brands hesitate, and fans are left torn between loyalty to his musical contributions and doubt raised by the allegations. As the legal proceedings continue, the outcome remains uncertain. If the court rules in Jones's favor, it could cost Diddy not only millions, but also his credibility as a cultural icon. If the claims are disproven, he may rebuild, but the shadow of controversy is not easily erased. Either way, this case cements Sean Combs' story as a reminder that even the most powerful figures in entertainment remain vulnerable once the courtroom becomes their stage. Beyonce Knowles Carter. Beyonce Knowles Carter is more than just a global superstar. She is a cultural force. From her early days with Destiny's Child to her reign as a solo artist, she has earned countless Grammy Awards, headlined record-breaking world tours, and built a billion-dollar brand alongside her husband, Jay-Z. Known as Queen Bey, she has cultivated an image of empowerment, artistry, and near-flawless perfection. Yet even Beyoncé has faced the harsh spotlight of the courtroom, where millions of dollars and her creative reputation were on the line. In 2016, Beyoncé was sued for $20 million by the estate of Anthony Barr, better known as Messy Mya, a rapper and YouTube personality from New Orleans. The controversy centered around her critically acclaimed track formation released as part of her groundbreaking Lemonade project. Messy Mya's estate claimed Beyoncé had used his voice in the song's intro and interludes without permission. Phrases such as, "What happened at the New Orleans?" and "I'm back by popular demand" were alleged to have been lifted directly from his YouTube videos. Beyoncé's legal team quickly mounted a defense, arguing that the snippets were protected under the doctrine of fair use and that licenses had been obtained from Messy Mya's family before the lawsuit was filed. Still, the estate insisted that no proper authorization had been given, pushing forward in court with their demand for damages worth tens of millions. The case attracted widespread media attention not only because of Beyoncé's star power, but also due to its deeper cultural context. Formation had become an anthem of Black identity, resilience, and political expression, and the lawsuit raised questions about ownership, creativity, and respect for lesser-known voices. The legal dispute lingered in the system for several years before both sides decided to settle privately outside of court. The terms of the settlement were never disclosed, leaving fans and critics to speculate on whether Beyoncé paid a substantial sum or if the estate withdrew under negotiation. What remains undeniable is that the case highlighted the thin line artists walk when balancing inspiration, homage, and intellectual property rights. For Beyoncé, the lawsuit did little to dim her shine. She went on to headline Coachella in 2018, deliver record-breaking tours, and solidify her status as one of the most influential entertainers of all time. Yet this chapter serves as a reminder, even for the world's most celebrated superstar, the courtroom can be as challenging as the stage. Kanye West. Kanye West is one of the most polarizing figures in modern entertainment. A rapper, producer, fashion designer, and cultural provocateur who has influenced music and style for over 2 decades. From his groundbreaking albums like The College Dropout and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, to the massive success of his Yeezy fashion brand, Kanye has built an empire that stretches far beyond hip-hop. But with that ambition has come controversy, and in 2019, he faced a $20 million lawsuit that exposed the challenges of mixing technology business and trust. The legal battle began when a Pennsylvania-based company, My Channel Inc., accused Kanye of stealing their proprietary video and e-commerce technology. According to the lawsuit, Kanye hired My Channel in 2018 to help develop streaming and shopping tools for his Yeezy brand. The partnership included technology to power his Sunday service live stream events and online sales platforms. My Channel claimed Kanye promised them a $10 million investment and encouraged their team to relocate and work full-time on the project. However, the company alleged that after months of collaboration, Kanye abruptly cut off contact, used their technology without authorization, and failed to deliver the promised investment. The lawsuit demanded $20 million in damages, citing breach of contract and misappropriation of trade secrets. Kanye's legal team denied all wrongdoing, insisting that the claims were baseless and that his use of any technology was lawful. The case became even more dramatic in 2020 when Kanye sat for a deposition. Reports revealed that his erratic behavior during questioning, including rambling responses and off-topic remarks, led My Channel to request sanctions against him. The spectacle only amplified the media's fascination, painting a picture of a superstar struggling to balance artistry with accountability. In 2021, the lawsuit was quietly settled out of court, with the details kept private. Neither side disclosed whether financial compensation was exchanged, but the settlement allowed both parties to move on without the uncertainty of a lengthy trial. For My Channel, it was a chance to close a costly chapter. For Kanye, it was yet another reminder of how his entrepreneurial ventures often court as much chaos as his music and public persona. Though the case did not derail his career, it underscored a recurring theme in Kanye's story: brilliance and controversy often arrive hand in hand. For a man who has always pushed boundaries, this $20 million lawsuit became part of the complex legacy of one of entertainment's most unpredictable icons. Robin Thicke. Robin Thicke, son of actor Alan Thicke, rose to international fame with his smooth R&B voice and chart-topping singles. For years, he enjoyed steady success, but nothing compared to the explosion of Blurred Lines, his 2013 collaboration with Pharrell Williams and rapper T.I. The track became one of the biggest hits of the decade, topping the Billboard Hot 100 for 12 weeks and selling over 14 million copies worldwide. Yet behind its catchy hook and controversial music video lay a legal storm that would eventually cost Thicke and his collaborators millions of dollars. In 2015, the estate of Marvin Gaye filed a lawsuit claiming Blurred Lines had copied substantial elements of Gaye's 1977 classic, Got to Give It Up. The family argued that Thicke and Pharrell not only drew inspiration, but directly borrowed the groove rhythm and feel of the original track without permission. During the trial, lawyers for the Gaye estate played both songs side by side, insisting the similarities were undeniable. Thicke himself admitted in earlier interviews that he was heavily influenced by Marvin Gaye's music, a statement that later worked against him in court. Thicke and Pharrell's defense maintained that Blurred Lines was not a copy, but rather an homage to Gaye's style. They argued that music is built on inspiration, and no single artist can claim ownership of a vibe. Nevertheless, after weeks of testimony, a California jury sided with the Gaye family, awarding them $7.4 million in damages, later reduced to $5.3 million by a judge. In addition, Thicke and Pharrell were ordered to pay 50% of all future royalties from the song to Marvin Gaye's heirs. Do you believe artists should be punished for drawing inspiration from older music, or is borrowing part of the creative process that keeps art alive? The ruling sent shockwaves through the music industry, raising fears that artists might face lawsuits for any work resembling older songs. For Thicke, the decision was devastating. What had been the pinnacle of his career, a song that defined his name on the global stage, was now also his greatest liability. The financial loss was massive, and the public debate surrounding Blurred Lines overshadowed his musical achievements. In the years since, Thicke has continued to work, releasing new music and serving as a judge on television shows like The Masked Singer. Still, the Blurred Lines verdict remains a permanent chapter in his story, a cautionary tale about creativity, copyright, and the thin line between inspiration and infringement. Pharrell Williams. Pharrell Williams has long been celebrated as one of the most inventive artists of his generation. From producing hits with the Neptunes to creating global anthems like Happy, his fingerprints are on some of the biggest songs in modern music. Known for his trademark Hat's eclectic style and genre-blending sound, Pharrell built a reputation as both a visionary and a hitmaker. Yet in 2015, he faced one of the most damaging courtroom battles in music history, a lawsuit that cost him millions and forever changed how artists approach inspiration. The controversy centered on Blurred Lines' Pharrell's 2013 collaboration with Robin Thicke and rapper T.I. The song was an international smash, but its success caught the attention of the Marvin Gaye estate, who argued that it borrowed too heavily from Gaye's 1977 classic, Got to Give It Up. Pharrell testified that while he drew inspiration from the feel of Gaye's work, he never intended to copy the composition. He described himself as being in a creative reverse osmosis, channeling influences without consciously replicating them. Despite his defense, the jury sided with Gaye's heirs, awarding them $7.4 million in damages, later reduced to $5.3 million. Perhaps even more painful, Pharrell and Robin Thicke were ordered to share 50% of future royalties from Blurred Lines with the Gaye family. The verdict was groundbreaking. For the first time, an artist was held financially liable not for direct copying of melody or lyrics, but for capturing the essence of another song. The impact of the case reverberated far beyond Pharrell's personal finances. Legal scholars debated whether the ruling set a dangerous precedent, one that could make artists fearful of experimentation. Pharrell himself admitted in later interviews that the decision left him shaken, forcing him to think twice about the boundaries of originality. For a man whose career thrives on blending past and present sounds, the lawsuit felt like an attack on the very foundation of artistry. Even so, Pharrell's career endured. He continued to produce hits, joined The Voice as a coach, and in 2023 was appointed as the men's creative director for Louis Vuitton, succeeding Virgil Abloh. While the Blurred Lines case remains a stain on his otherwise illustrious career, it also cements Pharrell Williams as a central figure in the ongoing debate over creativity, homage, and ownership in modern music. Angela White. Angela White, better known by her stage name Blac Chyna, has lived her life under the spotlight of both fame and controversy. Rising from her days as a dancer in Miami to becoming a model entrepreneur and reality television star, she built her brand around boldness and reinvention. Her high-profile relationships, including with rapper Tyga and later Rob Kardashian, pushed her further into celebrity culture. But her most dramatic chapter came not in the studio or on red carpets, but in the courtroom where she took on the Kardashian family in a lawsuit valued at nearly $100 million. The dispute began in 2017 after the cancellation of her reality show, Rob and China. The program, which chronicled her tumultuous relationship with Rob Kardashian, was set to run for a second season. However, after the couple's public breakup, the show was abruptly pulled. China accused the Kardashians, specifically Kris Jenner, Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, and Kylie Jenner, of conspiring to sabotage her career. She claimed they defamed her, interfered with her contracts, and pressured the network to cancel the show, causing her significant financial loss. In her lawsuit, China sought $100 million in damages, arguing that the family's influence destroyed her reality TV career and hurt her brand endorsements. The Kardashians fired back, stating that the show was canceled due to China's volatile relationship with Rob, not because of any conspiracy. The legal battle grew into a full-blown media circus, with both sides presenting testimony that gave the public a rare glimpse into the inner workings of one of America's most famous families. Do you think China was unfairly targeted by the Kardashians' power, or was the show doomed from the beginning due to her rocky relationship with Rob? After a 9-day trial in 2022 and over 10 hours of jury deliberation, the verdict came down. The Kardashians were cleared of all claims. The jury concluded that they had not defamed China or interfered with her contracts. For Angela White, it was a crushing blow. She walked away without a penny of the millions she had demanded. For the Kardashians, it was a reaffirmation of their influence and resilience under scrutiny. Still, China has continued to reinvent herself. In recent years, she announced she was stepping away from cosmetic enhancements, embraced her birth name, Angela White, and spoke about reclaiming her personal identity beyond the drama. The lawsuit may not have delivered financial victory, but it cemented her role as a figure unafraid to challenge one of the most powerful families in Hollywood. Chris Brown. Chris Brown's career has always balanced on the edge between dazzling talent and damaging controversy. Discovered as a teenager, he skyrocketed to fame in the mid-2000s with chart-topping hits like Run It and Forever. His electrifying voice, dancing skills, and charisma made him one of R&B's brightest stars. Yet Brown's journey has been overshadowed time and again by personal struggles and legal challenges. Among them was a $17 million lawsuit filed in 2018, which added another turbulent chapter to his already complicated legacy. The case stemmed from a February 2017 party held at Brown's Los Angeles home. According to court filings, a woman identified as Jane Doe alleged that she was assaulted by Brown's friend Lowell Grissom Jr., also known as Young Lo, during the gathering. She further claimed the atmosphere at the house was unsafe, pointing out that multiple firearms and large amounts of alcohol and substances were present. Jane Doe accused Brown of facilitating the environment by providing intoxicants and even seizing guests' phones upon arrival to ensure privacy. Her attorney, the well-known Gloria Allred, argued that Brown bore responsibility for what happened under his roof. The lawsuit demanded $17 million in damages, citing emotional distress, misconduct, and negligence. Brown's legal team, however, strongly rejected the claims, stating that he was not personally involved in the alleged assault and that the accusations were designed to exploit his fame and wealth. The case generated headlines worldwide, once again placing Brown's name in the center of controversy. For a star who was already carrying the weight of past scandals, the lawsuit further tarnished his reputation. Despite the intensity of the claims, the case never went to a full trial. Instead, in 2019, both sides reached a confidential settlement outside of court. The financial terms were not made public, but the agreement brought an end to a legal battle that could have dragged on for years. Though the lawsuit did not derail his career entirely, it reinforced the public's divided perception of Chris Brown. To some, he remains a gifted performer whose artistry should stand on its own. To others, his name is synonymous with turmoil. What cannot be denied is that the $17 million lawsuit revealed once more how quickly a star's world can shift when fame collides with legal firestorms. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, born Onika Tanya Maraj in Trinidad and raised in Queens, has carved out a reputation as one of hip-hop's most dominant female voices. With her rapid-fire delivery, flamboyant style, and record-breaking career, she's become a global icon. From super bass to starships and countless collaborations, Minaj built an empire that blends music, fashion, and business savvy. But even at the height of her success, she faced a lawsuit that put her artistry on trial, this time over copyright and sampling. In 2020, legendary singer-songwriter Tracy Chapman filed a lawsuit against Nicki Minaj, demanding $20 million in damages. The dispute centered on Minaj's unreleased track, Sorry, recorded for her 2018 album Queen. The song sampled Chapman's 1988 classic Baby Can I Hold You Without Permission. Chapman, who is famously protective of her work, had repeatedly denied requests from Minaj's team to clear the sample. Despite the refusal, the track was leaked online by DJ Funkmaster Flex, triggering the lawsuit. Chapman's legal team argued that Minaj had violated copyright law by using the sample in the first place, regardless of whether the song was officially released. They claimed the leak only deepened the harm by making the music available to the public without authorization. Minaj's lawyers countered that her actions fell under fair use protections, which allow artists to experiment creatively with other works in private. They argued that artists must have the freedom to record with samples during the creative process, even if the track never sees a commercial release. The case was headed toward a lengthy trial, but in January 2021, Nicki Minaj decided to settle. She agreed to pay $450,000 to cover Chapman's legal fees and bring the matter to a close. While the settlement was far below the $20 million initially demanded, it served as a reminder of the high stakes surrounding sampling in modern music. For Minaj, the lawsuit was more of a legal hurdle than a career-ending event. She continued releasing music, collaborating with artists across genres, and maintaining her role as the self-proclaimed queen of rap. Yet, the Chapman case became a cautionary tale for artists everywhere. Even the biggest stars can face costly consequences when copyright law collides with creativity. Curtis Jackson. Curtis Jackson, better known as 50 Cent, is one of hip-hop's most recognizable names. From his explosive debut, Get Rich or Die, trying to his ventures in film, television, and business, he built an empire worth hundreds of millions. He became a symbol of survival and ambition, rising from a rough childhood in Queens to global superstardom. Yet behind the bravado and financial success, 50 Cent faced a devastating lawsuit in 2015 that nearly toppled his fortune and reputation. The case involved Lastonia Leviston, the former partner of rapper Rick Ross. Leviston sued Jackson after he publicly released a private and intimate video of her and another man online. To make matters worse, 50 Cent edited himself into the video, adding commentary that mocked both Leviston and Ross. Leviston argued this was a deliberate attempt to humiliate her and inflict emotional harm, especially since she was not a public figure. The jury sided with Leviston, awarding her $5 million for emotional distress and invasion of privacy, plus an additional $2 million in punitive damages, bringing the total to $7 million. The verdict shocked fans and business observers alike, since Jackson had carefully cultivated his image as not just a rapper, but also a savvy entrepreneur. Do you think 50 Cent crossed the line by using personal material to attack a rival? Or was this just part of hip-hop's long history of public feuds? After the judgment, 50 Cent quickly filed for Chapter 11, bankruptcy protection, claiming his assets and debts were misaligned. Many speculated this move was strategic, designed to shield his wealth and restructure his financial obligations. In court filings, he admitted the bankruptcy was less about being broke and more about managing the hefty legal payout. Eventually, Jackson settled with Leviston, though the exact terms were not made public. Reports suggested he arranged a payment plan allowing him to maintain his lifestyle and continue pursuing business opportunities. In the years since, he has rebuilt his reputation, focusing heavily on television production with the hit series Power and its spin-offs, as well as expanding his portfolio in beverages and entertainment. Still, the Leviston lawsuit remains a critical moment in his career. It revealed the risks of blending personal vendettas with public platforms and showed how even the toughest rappers can be made vulnerable in court. For 50 Cent, the $7 million case was a reminder that words and actions carry real consequences, even for those who once seemed untouchable. Usher Raymond IV. Usher Raymond IV, often hailed as the king of R&B, has shaped the genre for more than 2 decades. With hits like Yeah Burn and Confessions, he not only dominated charts, but also influenced an entire generation of performers. Beyond music, Usher has thrived as an actor, businessman, and mentor, even playing a pivotal role in launching Justin Bieber's career. Yet in 2017, his carefully crafted image was rocked when he became the center of several lawsuits totaling $20 million, threatening both his reputation and financial standing. The lawsuits were filed by multiple plaintiffs, the most publicized being Laura Helm, who alleged that Usher knowingly exposed her to the herpes virus after an encounter. Initially, Helm sought $10 million later, raising the demand to $20 million for emotional distress and punitive damages. Others also came forward with similar claims, creating a media firestorm. The accusations shocked fans, as Usher had long been seen as a polished entertainer far removed from scandal. Usher's legal team strongly denied the allegations, arguing there was no credible evidence to prove he had transmitted the virus to anyone. They emphasized that accusations without medical proof should not be allowed to damage an artist's career. Still, the story spread rapidly across tabloids, entertainment networks, and social media, generating headlines that overshadowed his musical achievements. As the case unfolded, Usher faced immense pressure not only from the legal system, but also from the weight of public scrutiny. Endorsements, brand partnerships, and concert tours all came under the microscope as fans debated whether to stand by him or distance themselves. By 2019, Helm and Usher reached a confidential settlement out of court with no public disclosure of the terms. While the resolution brought an end to the legal fight, the damage to his public image lingered. For Usher, it was a painful reminder that even unproven allegations can inflict lasting scars on a celebrity's reputation. Despite the controversy, Usher has continued to perform, earning acclaim for his Las Vegas residency and maintaining his place as one of R&B's most enduring figures. Still, the $20 million lawsuit remains a pivotal chapter in his story, a moment when fame, health, and law collided in ways that nearly eclipsed his legendary career. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is one of Hollywood's most bankable comedians and actors. From sold-out stand-up tours to blockbuster films like Jumanji and Ride Along, he built a reputation as the funny, hard-working entertainer who seemingly never slows down. But in 2017, Hart's personal life collided with his career when a private scandal exploded into public view, eventually leading to a $6 million lawsuit that threatened to tarnish his carefully crafted image. The controversy began when Montaya Sabig, a model and actress, claimed she was secretly recorded during intimate moments with Hart in a Las Vegas hotel room. The footage, filmed without her consent, quickly circulated online, sparking headlines around the world. Sabig accused Hart of being negligent, alleging that he and his friend Jonathan Todd Jackson conspired to secretly record the encounter in order to generate publicity and financial gain. She stated that the release of the tape caused her humiliation, emotional distress, and damage to her reputation. Hart's legal team denied these allegations, maintaining that he was also a victim of the recording. They insisted that Jackson acted alone and that Hart had no knowledge of the secret camera. Hart himself publicly apologized, not for setting up the incident, but for putting himself in a compromising position while married. His admission of infidelity became a hot topic in the media, as fans debated whether the comedian's public persona matched his private choices. The lawsuit, filed in 2019, demanded $6 million in damages from Hart. Sabig's lawyers argued that Hart's carelessness created the circumstances that led to her being filmed without consent. The case gained significant attention, with both sides presenting arguments that kept Hart's name in the headlines for months. In 2020, a federal judge dismissed the lawsuit, ruling that Sabig's claims lacked sufficient evidence to prove Hart's direct involvement. While this cleared Hart legally, the scandal had already taken a toll on his personal life, most notably his marriage, as he was forced to publicly confront his mistakes and ask for forgiveness. Despite the controversy, Hart has continued to thrive professionally, bouncing back with major projects and even sharing his story of personal growth in documentaries and interviews. The $6 million lawsuit may not have ended in financial loss, but it marked a chapter that reminded the world even the funniest man in Hollywood isn't immune to very serious consequences. Robyn Rihanna. Fenty. Rihanna. Robyn Rihanna Fenty. Known globally as Rihanna, is more than a pop superstar. She is a fashion mogul, beauty entrepreneur, and billionaire businesswoman. With hits like Umbrella Diamonds and Work, she became one of the best-selling artists of all time. But long before she built her Fenty empire, and Forbes listed her as the wealthiest female musician, Rihanna faced a serious financial crisis. In 2012, she turned to the courtroom, suing her former accountants for damages that could have destroyed her career. The lawsuit targeted Burton LLP, an accounting firm Rihanna once trusted to manage her money. She accused the firm of gross mismanagement, alleging they not only failed to protect her finances, but also caused her to lose millions of dollars. Court documents revealed troubling details. Rihanna claimed the accountants took unusually high commissions from her tours, around 23% of gross revenues, while she only received about 6%. She also said they gave her poor financial advice, such as encouraging her to purchase a $7.5 million Beverly Hills mansion at a time when her accounts were dwindling. That property later suffered structural problems, leading to further losses when she sold it at a steep discount. The lawsuit also alleged that Burton LLP mishandled her tax filings in both the U.S. and overseas, leaving her exposed to potential penalties. According to Rihanna's team, their mismanagement left her on the verge of bankruptcy, despite being one of the world's biggest stars at the time. Do you think celebrities should be blamed for trusting the wrong advisors? Or are financial professionals solely responsible when millions disappear? Burton LLP denied wrongdoing, arguing that Rihanna's financial troubles stemmed from her own lavish spending habits. They countered that her career choices, not their advice, caused her financial stress. The legal fight dragged on for 2 years, drawing attention from fans and financial analysts who saw the case as a cautionary tale about celebrity wealth management. In 2014, Rihanna and Burton LLP reached a confidential settlement out of court. The exact terms were never disclosed, but it allowed both parties to move forward and avoid a drawn-out trial. For Rihanna, the lawsuit was a turning point. She took control of her financial future, launching Fenty Beauty in 2017 and Savage X Fenty Ventures that would transform her into a billionaire by 2021. What began as a nightmare with accountants nearly derailed her career, but Rihanna turned that setback into motivation to build an empire. Today, she stands as proof that even when millions are lost, resilience and reinvention can rewrite the story. Clifford Harris. Clifford Joseph Harris Jr., better known as T.I., has worn many hats during his career: rapper, actor, entrepreneur, and reality television star. With Grammy-winning hits like Whatever You Like and Live Your Life, he earned the nickname King of the South and became a leading figure in Southern hip-hop. But even stars who dominate charts and television screens are not immune to courtroom drama. In 2010, T.I. was hit with a $10 million lawsuit that tested both his business reputation and credibility as a performer. The case was filed by a concert promoter who claimed T.I. had agreed to headline a major event but never showed up. According to court records, the promoter invested heavily in the show, spending large sums on marketing, securing a venue, and preparing for the crowd that T.I.'s name was expected to draw. When the rapper allegedly failed to appear, the promoter argued that they suffered significant financial losses and reputational damage. The lawsuit demanded $10 million in compensation, a figure meant to cover both the direct costs of the failed event and the anticipated profits that evaporated overnight. T.I. and his legal team strongly disputed these allegations. They argued that the situation was the result of miscommunication and contractual misunderstandings, not a willful breach of agreement. According to T.I.'s side, the promoter exaggerated claims and attempted to use his celebrity status to push for an outsized settlement. The lawsuit sparked heated debates within the industry about responsibility and accountability in live entertainment. Concerts are high-risk ventures, and when millions of dollars are on the line, even minor misunderstandings can snowball into major disputes. For T.I., the timing was particularly damaging as he was already facing public scrutiny due to separate legal issues outside of music. In the end, both parties decided to settle out of court. The details of the settlement were not made public, but reports indicated that the resolution allowed T.I. to avoid a lengthy trial while providing the promoter with some form of compensation. For the rapper, it was a chance to move forward without a permanent stain on his business record. Though the $10 million lawsuit could have been catastrophic, T.I. managed to preserve his career, returning to music, television, and entrepreneurial ventures. Yet the case remains a cautionary tale. Even for the King of the South, the stage can quickly turn into a courtroom when contracts and expectations collide. Sean Corey Carter, universally known as Jay-Z, is not only a rap legend but also a billionaire entrepreneur, mogul, and cultural figure whose reach extends far beyond music. From groundbreaking albums like The Blueprint and 444 to business empires including Roc Nation Tidal and investments in luxury spirits, he has become a model of hip-hop success. But in 2006, Jay-Z found himself in an unusual legal fight, one that had nothing to do with beats, rhymes, or contracts, but rather a simple hand gesture that symbolized his brand. The lawsuit was filed by professional wrestler Diamond Dallas Page DDP, who became famous in the 1990s for his finishing move, the Diamond Cutter. Page had trademarked the diamond-shaped hand gesture he used in the ring, made by connecting thumbs and index fingers into a diamond. Jay-Z, meanwhile, popularized a nearly identical sign known as the Roc sign as part of his Roc-A-Fella Records identity. Fans flashed it at concerts, artists threw it up in music videos, and it became a global symbol of Jay-Z's empire. Page argued that Jay-Z's use of the gesture violated his trademark rights and caused brand confusion. He demanded $5 million in damages, insisting that the Roc sign unfairly capitalized on his established wrestling persona. For Jay-Z, the lawsuit posed a unique challenge. While trademarks protect logos and gestures, could an entertainer truly own a hand symbol so widely recognized? Jay-Z's legal team countered that the Roc sign was a natural cultural expression, not an infringement. They argued that it had taken on a meaning far beyond wrestling, representing music business and hip-hop culture at large. The case drew massive media attention not only because of Jay-Z's stature, but also because it raised intriguing questions about ownership of gestures in entertainment. By 2007, the two sides quietly reached a settlement outside of court. The details were never revealed, but the agreement allowed Jay-Z to continue using the Roc sign freely, ensuring that the hand gesture remained an enduring symbol of his brand. For Page, the settlement at least acknowledged his claim, while Jay-Z avoided a drawn-out trial that could have distracted from his music and business ventures. Today, the Roc sign still flashes across arenas and stadiums, a testament to Jay-Z's cultural influence. Yet the $5 million lawsuit remains a reminder that in the entertainment world, even the smallest details down to the shape of your hands can spark a multi-million-dollar courtroom battle. Aubrey Drake. Graham. Aubrey Drake. Graham, known to millions simply as Drake, has gone from Canadian teen actor on Degrassi: The Next Generation to one of the most dominant forces in global hip-hop. With countless chart-topping singles, Grammy Awards, and sold-out tours, he has built a career blending rap and R&B into a style uniquely his own. But in 2014, Drake found himself in a legal dispute that revealed how even a superstar at the top of his game can face consequences when creativity overlaps with copyright law. The controversy centered around YG's hit single Who Do You Love, which featured Drake. Released in 2014, the track was a West Coast anthem that gained massive popularity. However, rapper Rappin' 4-Tay noticed something striking. A portion of Drake's verse in the song closely mirrored lyrics from his 1994 track, Playaz Club. The similarity wasn't subtle, it was nearly word for word, sparking outrage from the veteran San Francisco rapper. Rappin' 4-Tay accused Drake of using his lyrics without permission or credit, while hip-hop has long embraced sampling and references to older material. This case was different. No clearance had been sought. No collaboration was arranged, and the verse appeared on a major commercial release. For Rappin' 4-Tay, it felt like his intellectual property had been lifted by one of the biggest stars in the industry without acknowledgement. Rather than allowing the dispute to spiral into a prolonged courtroom battle, Drake's representatives moved quickly to resolve the issue. According to reports, they agreed to pay $100,000 to Rappin' 4-Tay as part of a settlement. The arrangement allowed both sides to avoid the time cost and publicity of a trial while compensating the veteran rapper for his work. Though the payment was modest compared to the millions Drake typically earns, the incident sent a clear message. Even the most powerful artists must respect the boundaries of creative ownership. For Drake, the settlement was more of a small bump than a career-defining setback. He continued to dominate the charts with hits like Hotline Bling, God's Plan, and In My Feelings, cementing his place as one of the most successful rappers of all time. Still, the Rappin' 4-Tay case remains a reminder that in hip-hop, where history and homage intertwine, the line between inspiration and infringement is razor-thin, and crossing it can cost even the biggest stars. Calvin Broadus. Calvin Cortazar Broadus Jr., better known as Snoop Dogg, has been a fixture in hip-hop since the early 1990s. With his laid-back flow, iconic voice, and crossover success in film, television, and even business, Snoop has become not just a rapper, but a global cultural ambassador. Yet even with his enduring popularity, he too has faced moments where the courtroom overshadowed the stage. One of the most notable came in 2005 when Snoop was hit with a $25 million lawsuit filed by a celebrity makeup artist. The case stemmed from an incident after a taping of Jimmy Kimmel Live in January 2003. According to the plaintiff, she was invited backstage where she claimed she was given champagne that had been spiked with unknown substances. She alleged that she was later assaulted by Snoop and several members of his entourage. The lawsuit demanded $25 million in damages, citing emotional trauma, misconduct, and negligence. Snoop Dogg's legal team immediately denied the accusations, calling them false, and labeling the lawsuit a clear attempt at extortion. They pointed out that the plaintiff had attempted to settle the matter privately for 2 years before going public with the lawsuit. Snoop himself countered with a countersuit accusing the makeup artist of trying to profit from his fame and damage his reputation without evidence. The case attracted widespread media coverage given Snoop Dogg's fame and the serious nature of the allegations. Fans and critics debated whether this was another example of opportunistic lawsuits targeting celebrities or a legitimate grievance. While the claims were never proven in court, the sheer size of the lawsuit, $25 million, demonstrated just how high the stakes can be when a star's reputation is on the line. Eventually, to avoid years of costly litigation, both parties chose to settle out of court. The settlement terms were never made public, but the agreement allowed Snoop Dogg to continue his career without the constant distraction of the lawsuit. For him, it was a chance to protect his brand and move forward, even as the case left a lingering shadow over that period of his life. Despite the controversy, Snoop Dogg has remained a beloved entertainer, transitioning seamlessly from rap legend to TV personality, entrepreneur, and even cookbook author. Still, the $25 million lawsuit serves as a reminder that behind the smoke and charisma, even the most iconic figures are vulnerable once legal battles begin. Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige, often called the Queen of Hip-Hop Soul, has built a career on authenticity, resilience, and raw talent. With multiple Grammy Awards, multi-platinum albums, and iconic singles like Family Affair and Be Without You, she became a trailblazer who fused R&B with hip-hop in ways that reshaped modern music. Beyond her artistry, Blige has been admired for her honesty about personal struggles, including battles with addiction and heartbreak. But in 2013, she faced a different type of challenge, not on stage, but in the courtroom, where she was sued for $145,000 over a canceled concert. The lawsuit was filed by Vision Entertainment Worldwide VW, a Dallas-based promotions company. According to VW, Blige had signed a contract to perform at a December 9, 2012 event in Dallas, Texas. They alleged that she had already accepted a $145,000 deposit, but pulled out of the performance just days before the scheduled show. What stung even more for VW was that Blige reportedly chose instead to perform with Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones at Brooklyn's Barclays Center on December 8th, the night before her Dallas concert. VW argued that this last-minute cancellation caused significant financial loss, as they had already invested heavily in marketing, venue preparation, and logistics, all tied to Blige's appearance. They demanded damages equal to the deposit paid, claiming breach of contract and reputational harm. Blige's legal team, however, denied the accusations. They insisted that she had not broken any binding contract and that VEW's claims were unfounded. To her defense, scheduling conflicts and last-minute changes are not uncommon in the entertainment industry, and artists often face difficult choices when multiple opportunities collide. The lawsuit attracted attention, partly because Blige had long been a beloved figure admired not only for her music, but also her transparency about life's hardships. For some fans, the case highlighted the tension between artistry and business, while for others it was simply a reminder that even major stars can face the same contractual disputes as everyday professionals. Though the case did not dominate headlines for long, it was one of several financial challenges Blige faced during that period. Despite this, she pushed forward later, stunning the world with her role in Mudbound, earning Oscar nominations, and delivering an unforgettable Super Bowl halftime performance in 2022. The $145,000 lawsuit may have been a small figure compared to the millions she's earned in her career, but it stands as a reminder even the queen of hip-hop soul is not immune to the business pitfalls of fame. Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, hailed as one of the greatest lyricists of his generation, built his career on authenticity and artistry. From his early mixtapes to landmark albums like Good Kid, Made City, and To Pimp a Butterfly, he has been praised not only for his music, but also for his sharp storytelling about race politics and society. By the mid-2010s, Kendrick was a Pulitzer Prize-winning artist and a voice of his era. Yet in 2015, even he was not immune to legal trouble when Canadian rapper Jonathan Emile sued him and his label over a guest verse demanding recognition and damages. The dispute revolved around a track titled Heaven Help Dem, which featured a socially conscious verse from Kendrick. Jonathan Emile said he had paid Kendrick's team for the collaboration, believing it to be an official feature. When the song was released, however, it was quickly removed from YouTube and SoundCloud after a takedown notice claimed the verse had been used without authorization. The takedown painted Emile as if he had stolen Kendrick's vocals, damaging his reputation as an independent artist. Emile responded by filing a lawsuit against Kendrick Lamar, Top Dog Entertainment Interscope, and Universal Music Group. He argued that he had legally paid for the verse and that the takedown not only violated their agreement, but also hurt his credibility in the industry. For a smaller artist trying to break through, being accused of stealing from one of hip-hop's most respected names could be devastating. The case moved to small claims court in Quebec, where the judge reviewed the evidence. Ultimately, the court ruled in favor of Jonathan Emile, awarding him around $6,400 in damages plus interest. While the amount was small compared to the multi-million-dollar lawsuits faced by other celebrities, the case carried symbolic weight. It highlighted the risks that come with working across music's power imbalances, where independent creators can feel crushed under the influence of global superstars and their labels. For Kendrick, the lawsuit did not significantly impact his career. He continued to rise, winning Grammys, a Pulitzer Prize for Damn, and cementing his place in music history. Still, the dispute with Jonathan Emile remains a notable episode, reminding the industry that even minor contractual issues can spiral into public legal battles. The $400 ruling may have been modest, but it underscored a larger truth in the music business: protecting one's rights and reputation matters just as much as the art itself. Nayvadius Wilburn. Nayvadius Damon Wilburn, better known as Future, has become one of the most influential rappers of the 2010s. With his distinct melodic style, chart-topping albums, and collaborations with stars like Drake, Rihanna, and The Weeknd, Future carved out a unique lane in hip-hop. But as his fame skyrocketed, so did the business complications surrounding his music. In 2016, he found himself in the middle of a multi-million-dollar lawsuit filed by his former mentor and business partner, Rocco, which forced him to surrender massive earnings at the peak of his career. Rocco, founder of A1 Recordings, claimed that Future had signed a 2011 contract requiring him to release his first 6 albums through A1. Instead, Future struck a separate deal with Epic Records, securing multi-million-dollar advances and bypassing the agreement. Rocco alleged this was a breach of contract and demanded a share of Future's earnings not only from music, but also from touring and endorsements. The lawsuit highlighted the often messy relationship between rising artists and the early supporters who helped launch their careers. Future and his legal team fought back, arguing that the contract's terms were overly restrictive and unfair. Still, the lawsuit loomed large, with millions of dollars at stake. Reports indicated that to resolve the matter, Future and Epic Records agreed to a costly settlement. Rocco would receive royalties from Future's next 2 albums, along with half of his touring revenue for 2 years. The settlement hit Future hard, as he was forced to hand over a significant portion of his income during one of the most productive stretches of his career. Adding to the drama, Future was also entangled in a separate legal dispute with his ex-fiancée, Ciara, who accused him of defamation and sought damages. That case ended in a private settlement, with Future agreeing not to publicly speak negatively about her or their custody arrangement. Despite the financial setbacks, Future's momentum never slowed. He continued releasing back-to-back projects, many debuting at #1 on the Billboard charts, and solidified his reputation as a trendsetter. The Rocco lawsuit, however, remains a cautionary tale about the hidden costs of contracts and the heavy price artists sometimes pay for breaking free. For Future, the battle was not just about money, it was about control of his art and career. Though he lost millions, he gained independence, a trade-off that helped define the next chapter of his legacy. Radric Davis. Radric Davis, better known as Gucci Mane, is one of trap music's founding fathers. With his prolific output, distinctive style, and ability to reinvent himself after numerous setbacks, he helped define an entire subgenre of hip-hop. But before his triumphant comeback in the mid-2010s, Gucci Mane faced a series of personal and legal struggles, including a 2012 lawsuit over luxury jewelry that revealed just how quickly fame and finance can collide. The lawsuit was filed by Raffaello & Company, a New York-based jewelry business that frequently worked with celebrities. According to court documents, the company claimed Gucci Mane had been lent several high-value items: a diamond pinky ring worth $130,000, a diamond necklace, and a bracelet valued at $110,000. The agreement required him to either return the pieces within 15 days or pay for them in full. While Gucci did pay part of the bill, reportedly around $40,000, the rest went unpaid. Raffaello & Company alleged he failed to return the remaining jewelry and ignored repeated attempts to resolve the issue. Frustrated, they sued him for $274,523.34 in damages, an amount that included both the cost of the missing items and additional penalties. The situation worsened when Gucci Mane failed to appear in court. Because of his absence, a default judgment was issued against him. This meant the court automatically ruled in Raffaello's favor, placing a lien on Gucci's property to recover the money. For a star already grappling with legal troubles and prison sentences, the judgment further strained his public image. At the time, Gucci Mane was viewed as a controversial figure in hip-hop, with his career marked by flashes of brilliance overshadowed by legal drama. Yet ironically, this period of turmoil paved the way for his eventual reinvention. Following his release from prison in 2016, he re-emerged healthier, more disciplined, and committed to rebuilding both his music and his personal life. The jewelry lawsuit may not have involved the staggering sums seen in other celebrity cases, but it symbolized a recurring theme in Gucci Mane's story, the cost of reckless decisions in the glare of fame. Today, as a respected veteran of hip-hop and a symbol of resilience, Gucci's past lawsuits serve as reminders of how far he has come from the chaos of his earlier years. From Diddy's $30 million lawsuit to Rihanna's battle with her accountants, these stories remind us that wealth and fame never guarantee freedom from legal storms. Some cases ended in quiet settlements, others in public defeats, but all revealed how fragile reputations can be when millions are at stake. Do these lawsuits reflect justice being served, or are they proof that celebrities are easy targets in a world obsessed with money and scandal? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence.